Close your eyes, breathe. The path of the warrior is not found in the noise of the world, but in the silence within. The journey begins now. Every warrior's journey begins with a moment of stillness. Not with action, not with noise, not with external movement, but with an inner shift. A deep awareness that something must change, not because the world demands it, but because the soul demands it. There is an ancient voice within that whispers, it is time. Not time to fight the outside, but time to rise from within, to awaken from forgetfulness, to meet yourself fully. The warrior does not begin his path by defeating others. He begins by facing himself, by turning inward and seeing what is true and what is false, what is strength and what is fear, what is discipline and what is habit. He does not chase goals blindly. He sits in silence and listens to the breath, to the body, to the space between thoughts. For in that space, he meets the truth of who he is and who he is meant to become. To awaken the warrior within is to stop escaping, to stop hiding behind comfort and distraction, to stop blaming the world for what must be owned inside it. Is the discipline to sit with discomfort, the discipline to stay when the mind says run, the discipline to choose the path of growth over the path of ease again and again, not once but every day. This is not about motivation. Motivation is temporary. It rises and falls like emotion. Discipline is the root. Discipline is the foundation. It is what remains when the feelings fade, when inspiration disappears. The warrior builds his life on discipline, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. Because without discipline the mind wanders, the purpose fades, the strength is forgotten, and strength is not in the body alone. True strength is in the mind, in the breath, in the choice to continue, even when the weight is heavy, even when the path is long, even when no one watches. Discipline is forged in silence, in repetition, in small, daily acts done with presence, done with intention, done without the need for reward. You will be tempted by shortcuts, by comfort, by the illusion of rest that has not been earned. But the warrior trains his eyes to see through illusion, to stay focused on what matters. He does not chase every distraction. He does not entertain every emotion. He remains centered, anchored, rooted in what he has chosen with clarity. To awaken the warrior within you must train your attention, not just your body, not just your skills, but your attention. For where your attention goes, your life follows. Train your mind to return to the breath, to return to the step in front of you, to return to the now. Because the now is where power lives. The now is where discipline begins. You will feel tired. You will feel uncertain. You will feel the urge to quit. But the warrior speaks one truth in those moments. I continue not because I feel strong, but because I have chosen to be. The path does not require perfection. It requires presence. It requires return. It requires the will to begin again. Every time you fall, and you will fall, the path guarantees it, but falling is not the end. It is part of the training, part of the refining, part of the process that strips away the weakness and reveals the truth underneath. You are not defined by the fall. You are defined by your return, by your willingness to rise again. Without complaint, without excuse, with deeper clarity. The warrior's strength is not in being untouched, but in being undeterred. He feels pain and continues. He feels doubt and chooses discipline. He feels fear and breathes through it. Not because he denies emotion, but because he does not surrender to it. He trains his emotions like he trains his muscles, with attention, with patience, with structure. There is power in discipline that others cannot see. It is quiet, it is steady, it is unshakable, while others are driven by mood. The warrior is driven by mission, while others seek comfort. The warrior seeks alignment. While others wait for the perfect moment, The warrior acts because he knows the perfect moment is now, and now again, and now again, and now again. Awakening the warrior is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It is a choice made in the morning when the bed feels warm. It is a choice made when the voice of doubt rises. It is a choice made when no one else is watching, and you still do the work. This is what separates those who dream from those who live with purpose. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about devotion. Devotion to the truth of who you are. Devotion to the life you are building. Devotion to the strength that is already inside, waiting to be claimed. Waiting to be remembered. The warrior trains every day, not just for the body, not just for the skill, but for the soul, because the soul must be strengthened too. And the greatest training is not always in motion. Sometimes it is in stillness. Sometimes it is in patience. Sometimes it is in doing what you do not feel like doing, with full attention, with full breath, with full heart. This is discipline. And discipline is freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from confusion, freedom from regret. You will hear the world tell you to take it easy, to slow down, to wait for the right time. But a warrior does not wait, he prepares. He does not beg for a lighter burden, he trains for a stronger back. He does not hope to be saved. He chooses to rise with breath, with focus, with repetition. You will not find your strength in one moment. You will find it in the thousands of small choices, the early mornings, the disciplined evenings, the moments you said, I will, and followed through, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. And in that process, something shifts, something awakens, not outside, but within. The warrior is not born, he is made. He is made in silence, made in solitude, made in discipline. He is made when the old self is left behind, when the excuses are burned away, when the truth is chosen again and again until it becomes who you are, not just what you do. Breathe into that truth, return to it daily, live from it completely, and let your actions speak what your words cannot. I am discipline, I am presence, I am the warrior. Close your eyes and begin to listen not to the outside, but to what is already within you. The quiet space that has always been there, underneath the noise, underneath the tension, underneath the pressure to do more, be more, prove more. This is where the warrior returns, not to escape the world, but to see it clearly, because clarity does not come from thinking faster, it comes from slowing down, until all that remains is truth. When a warrior walks, he does not rush. When he speaks, he does not shout. When he acts, he does not hesitate, because he is here, fully here, and nothing is more powerful than presence in a world that is always pulling your attention outward. Being still is the most rebellious act in a world addicted to speed. The warrior is rooted in silence, and through that silence he becomes unshakable. There is a strength that cannot be seen, but it can be felt. It is not in the body, it is not in the voice, it is in the energy that surrounds a man who is truly here, not distracted, not performing, not pretending, just fully present in every breath, in every movement, in every thought. That awareness is not born from books, not from effort, not from others. It is born from your willingness to sit with yourself. You will find that presence is not something you chase, it is something you return to again and again. When your mind wanders, you return. When emotion stirs, you return. When fear tempts you to run, you return. This is not weakness. This is training. The warrior trains his awareness every day in silence, in movement, in stillness, not because he is trying to become something, but because he is remembering what he already is. Most people live in reaction, chasing approval, running from discomfort, avoiding silence, but the warrior understands silence is the teacher. Presence is the path, and able to honor and awaken the power of whoever you are. Awareness is the weapon. Without presence, your actions are hollow. Your strength is scattered. Your purpose is blind. But when you are here, when you are truly here, everything you do carries weight. Every word, every breath, every choice leaves an imprint. Imagine striking without leaks into worry or regret. It becomes focused like a blade that cuts through illusion and distraction. This is not about being slow. It is about being precise. When you are present, you waste nothing. Not your time, not your effort, not your life. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows awareness. If your awareness is scattered, your energy is scattered. If your awareness is centered, your energy becomes unstoppable. The warrior does not fight everything. He chooses what deserves his attention, what deserves his strength. And that clarity only comes through presence. To be present is to be free. Free from the past, free from anxiety, free from needing to impress or control. It is to live now, to breathe now, to act now, without delay, without excuse, without fear. This is not a performance. This is discipline. It is a practice. It is the core of what makes a warrior different from the rest. And so you sit not to empty your mind, but to see it clearly. You move not to impress, but to express. You speak not to be heard, but to speak truth. Every moment becomes sacred, not because of what it contains, but because of how you meet it with attention, with respect, with stillness. A warrior knows that the enemy is not always outside. Sometimes it is the racing mind, the restless heart, the fear that something is missing, the urge to be somewhere else, someone else. But when you are present, there is no lack, no search, no noise. There is only what is, and that is more than enough. The world is fast. You do not need to be. The world is loud. You do not need to be. The world is loud. You do not need to be. You have something others have forgotten. You have presence. And from that presence flows peace. Not the kind that avoids conflict, but the kind that cannot be disturbed by it. You will find that when you are present, you do not need to defend yourself. You do not need to chase anything. You do not need to convince anyone, because the energy of presence speaks louder than words. It carries the weight of someone who is whole, of someone who is not moved by opinion or pressure or fear. That is the strength of stillness. That is the power of presence. So breathe. Feel the air move through you. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the stillness underneath the movement, and know that this is where you begin. This is where all things begin. When you are present, you are aligned with life, not pushing, not pulling, not forcing, just aligned. And that alignment is what makes your actions powerful, your choices wise, your spirit free. A warrior does not need the world to slow down. He simply chooses not to be pulled by it. A warrior does not need silence around him. He brings silence with him wherever he goes. That silence is his center, and from that center he acts with clarity, with precision, with peace. You are not here to chase time. You are here to master it. Not through control, but through awareness. And awareness only exists here now, in this breath, in this step, in this moment. Everything else is imagination. Everything else is illusion. The warrior is awake. And he is awake not because of what he knows, but because of how deeply he listens. How still he becomes. How present he remains when all else moves. He stays when all else speaks. He hears when all else reacts. He chooses. And so you choose to return to presence again and again, until it becomes your way of being, not just a practice, but your natural state. Until the noise of the world can no longer pull you, until the fear of the unknown can no longer move you, until the storms of life can pass and you remain. There is a moment in every warrior's life when the ground beneath begins to shake, when the certainty fades, when the path disappears into shadow and the winds rise. This is not a mistake. This is not punishment. This is life revealing itself as it truly is. Not always gentle, not always clear, but always exact. In its teaching, adversity does not arrive to destroy you. It arrives to show you what lies beneath the surface, what cannot be shaken, what cannot be broken. The warrior understands this deeply. He does not resist the storm, he steps into it. He knows the value of discomfort. He knows that pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal that something is awakening inside him. Not weakness, not failure, but a deeper layer of strength, a hidden fire that only reveals itself when everything else falls away, when comfort is no longer an option and choice becomes survival. You will not discover your power while everything is easy. You will not find depth in still waters. You must be tested. Not to prove yourself to others, but to meet yourself. To confront the parts of you that are still clinging to softness, to doubt, to fear. Every challenge, every obstacle is a mirror held up to your face asking one question. Who are you now when things don't go your way? Who are you now when the pressure rises? Who are you now when there is no certainty? The warrior does not answer with words. He answers with presence, with endurance, with action. He stays standing when others fall, not because he is immune to pain, but because he does not run from it. He walks through the fire, not because he enjoys the heat, but because he trusts when it burns away. He allows himself to be shaped by hardship, to be sharpened by resistance, to be carved into someone unshakable. And this is not about pretending to be strong. This is not about suppressing pain. It is about meeting it directly, with clarity, with breath, with awareness, not flinching, not collapsing, not making excuses. The warrior is not the one who avoids suffering. He is the one who transforms it. He uses it as fuel, not for revenge, not for ego, but for mastery. There is a quiet kind of power that comes from walking through darkness without losing your light. A strength born not from dominating others but from refusing to be broken by circumstance. This is the warrior's path. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady, unmovable. True strength does not need to shout. It does not need to be seen. It simply remains. You will be tempted to doubt when things fall apart. You will want to question everything, to seek a way out, to escape. But the warrior knows there is only one way through. You must remain calm in the chaos, still in the storm, silent in the noise. The storm does not last forever. Who you become in it, that lasts, that shapes you. Each challenge is a rite of passage, each failure an invitation to deepen, each setback a chance to choose again with more wisdom, with more discipline, with more presence. The warrior does not expect the world to be fair. He does not wait for perfect conditions. He brings order into disorder. He brings purpose into confusion, and he brings silence into noise. He stands tall not because nothing touches him, but because nothing controls him. Adversity may touch his body, may challenge his mind, may test his spirit, but it does not shake his center, because his center is not outside. It is not in results, not in approval, not in the opinions of others. It is in discipline, in presence, in alignment with something deeper than circumstance. You do not become the warrior by avoiding pain. You become the warrior by meeting it, by sitting with it, by listening to what it has to teach you. Pain reveals your priorities. It strips away the distractions. It demands your focus, and in that focus you grow more grounded, more clear, more alive. There is no growth without friction, no expansion without pressure, no transformation without heat. The warrior understands this. He does not fight the process, he surrenders to it. Not with weakness but with complete awareness. He lets it shape him, not into what is easy but into what is real. And when others panic, he breathes. When others rush, he watches. When others collapse, he moves with intention. The warrior does not need things to be perfect because he is prepared. He has trained for uncertainty, for difficulty, for resistance, and that training shows not in comfort, but in crisis. You must understand adversity is not the enemy. It is the proving ground, the sharpening stone, the place where the false self dissolves and the true self emerges. You do not need to be fearless. You need to be faithful. Faithful to the path, faithful to the process, faithful to the stillness within you that remains untouched by external storms. And as you walk this path, as you feel the pressure rise, the resistance build, the doubt whisper, you must remember, this is the moment you were made for. Not the easy days, not the smooth victories, but this fire, this pressure, this silence. This is the test, and in passing it, you do not just survive. You rise. You rise with more clarity, with more discipline, with more presence. You rise not as someone seeking escape, but as someone fully committed to the journey, to the moment, to the calling. You rise because you chose to stay when others ran, because you chose to breathe when others broke, because you chose to see the lesson, not just the pain. And so when adversity comes again, and it will, you will not fear it. You will welcome it, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you recognize it, because you know it is here to shape you, to stretch you, to strip away what is no longer needed, and reveal what is eternal. You are unshakable, not because you are perfect, but because you are present. Not because life gets easier, but because you grow stronger. And you grow stronger not by chance, but by choice. And that choice begins now.